This episode is brought to you by Audio Micro, where you can find all your stock music and sound effects for creative projects at audiomicro.com. Hey crew, Garrett here, and this week I got to speak with Josh Bryson, a compositor who currently works for Stargate Studios and has worked on projects like Public Enemies, Night at the Museum, and most recently, Doctor Who. In the interview, Josh speaks about his journey of becoming a compositor, what it's like to work on Doctor Who, which, by the way, he is the guy that killed Amy and Rory, and he also explains the visual effects industry as a whole, and why it's been on shaky grounds these days. Let's check it out. You're working for Stargate Studios right now?
Yes, Stargate Studios.
What projects are you working on right now?
Currently, I'm working on an episode for Doctor Who. Otherwise, we're just getting ready for pilot season, so we'll see what that brings.
Are you a Doctor Who fan?
Oh yeah, huge fan. Yeah, I've got my jaw was carrying a Dalek away. So.
Do you, like, when these things come in, do you have any context? Or, like, as a compositor, do you just basically get a one scene and you're like, what the heck is happening right here?
Sometimes. Sometimes you end up working on a shot that's a spoiler. Like, for example, Angels in Manhattan, that episode. I did the shots with River and... Or not River, but Amy and Rory falling off the building. Yeah, I know. I hope nobody hates me for that. But
bring them back.
That ended up being like a huge spoiler in some ways. Like, but it wasn't a full spoiler because I knew that was going to happen. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens around it that you never catch. So it kind of it's kind of goes with the job, I guess. But we do get it so piecemeal that a lot of times when we do watch stuff later, like shows that we personally watch, you still get a little bit of surprise. The show has such great writing too.
Yeah.
It's actually one of those projects that is just like a huge achievement for me to work on, because I used to love watching Doctor Who with my dad when they would play it on PBS, and like the old like Fourth Doctor kind of thing. And so for me to actually be able to finally work on it now, it's pretty cool. It's like achievement unlocked.
Yeah, seriously, I had no idea they were. I had no idea they were sending that kind of stuff to LA. I felt like they kept all of the Doctor Who contained within London, and they weren't exactly sending that. Is that something recent for you guys to be getting it sent over?
Yeah, I think it's pretty recent. I don't know how long they've been sending, because maybe some other companies have worked on it, but as far as I knew, it was mostly the mill doing it. But I think that they saw the kind of things we do, like that Angels Take Manhattan episode. That's really Stargate. That's kind of our bread and butter a lot of times, is doing set extensions, map paintings, and those kind of things. And so we fit to do that kind of thing. And so I think that's why they kind of decided to shop it around. But that's all on the management side. So there's a bunch of stuff that goes on behind the doors that I don't catch. So I'm just stoked to work on it.
Fair enough. Have you always been a compositor? Have you ever been anything else like matte painter? Have you dabbled in any other field, or have you always been just like a straight compositor?
Well, matte painting is actually something that I enjoy and would love to be able to get into. But compositing is kind of something that I just ended up falling in. But the place I worked at before Stargate was Illusion Arts, and that was a matte painting house. And I worked on a couple of features there, like Night at the Museum 2 and Public Enemies. I even was able to work on a couple of shots of the first G.I. Joe and everything. It was all a matte painting house, and so that was kind of where I was definitely getting to lean. Unfortunately, Illusion Arts did not survive, as many other effects houses have unfortunately suffered similar fates.
Well, speaking of the whole VFX disaster that's going on, like, help me understand that a little bit more. I know Rhythm and Hues. Keep hearing the word subsidies being thrown around as being like the culprit that's causing this. Like, can you give a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on in the VFX world?
Well, I think subsidies, I don't think they're all of it, and it is. I mean, I'm even trying to wrap my head around a lot of it because as an artist, I'm kind of separated from a lot of that money exchanging side. But there is a huge shift in the industry right now where studios, like the production studios, are trying to save every penny that they can. And so if a location, if a city offers bigger tax credits, they'll opt to go there to save the money and everything. It leads to the work, somebody else is saying they can do it cheaper, and that's ultimately what ends up happening is a lot of underbidding.
You're saying there's other companies like the one that you were working for has went under. So has this been going on for a while, or is it something suddenly happening?
I think it's something that's been going on for a while. Only time will tell to see what really starts to pan out because there's a lot. I hear a lot of people throwing out options and what their opinions are on it, and I'm still trying to form my opinions, and we'll just have to see where it goes, and I just hope that everything can work out for the best for all of us.
So what's your background? You were saying that you liked matte painting and everything like that. Did you go to college for post-production visual effects? Did you go to college for fine arts? What was the main trend that you followed?
Well, I originally did try to go to a university for it, but it was pretty early on that most major universities didn't really have a specified program. Mm-hmm. It was ultimately a visual communications degree with an emphasis in computer imaging, which really meant nothing, I don't think. But I ultimately ended up, after just kind of doing general study stuff for a while, I found the Art Institute of Phoenix, and they actually had a degree that was visual effects and motion graphics, which actually isn't what I originally went out for. I actually used to do a lot of 3D modeling. I kind of had self-taught myself Maya and Max. Even before then, I had learned 3D Studio Max back when it was on DOS, and was modeling little Star Wars spaceships. I pretty much just took like the booklets from X-Wing and TIE Fighter, like those old video games, and they had great like renders of the ships and stuff, and so I just went through and modeled them all, and they were horrible, but it was what I did.
Hey, starting somewhere.
Yeah, and it branched off into learning Maya and everything, and it was when the Personal Learning Edition first ever came out, so I was actually able to get my hands on this, I think it was like $10,000 program or something like that at the time. And so I kind of was doing that and joined a lot of, online communities, and just kind of figured it out. But I had gone to the Art Institute to interview with them, I guess, to kind of figure out, and they asked me what I wanted to do, and I was like, well, I want to take 3D, photorealistic 3D, and put it into live action plates and make it look seamless. And they were like, oh, you want to do visual effects then? And it wasn't until like a little bit into the program that I was like, no, this isn't exactly what I wanted to do. But then as I went on, it just, I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. I can do this.
Yeah, are you still paying off that degree?
Oh, yes.
Figured as much.
And I've not once ever been asked to show it.
Well, that raises a good point. How much does, in the visual effects world, the college degree matter versus the demo reel that you're producing? Like, if you make a really great demo reel that's from self-taught stuff versus that degree that they're going to ask to see, like, what is kind of important?
I personally think you being able to do the work trumps any degree that you ever have. In fact, I don't know if you talk to Diego about his education, but he is a computer science major. Yep. And a lot of compositors are, actually. It's surprising. I think it has to do with, there is a whole side to compositing, one that I'm not necessarily the best at, that it's all, numbers and math with like expressions and scripting, and you can do some pretty crazy, awesome stuff with it. And I think that's why there's a draw for a lot of those kind of people that end up getting into it. But no, I definitely think, if you can do the work, that's going to trump the guy who paid, $50,000+ to go to a school.
What is like the bread and butter programs that they absolutely need to know going into any job?
Well, we're an After Effects house. I think a lot of television production tends to, and I don't know if that's a cost thing or if it's just where artists tend to go or whatever. It's a program that a lot of people learn starting off, probably because of the price.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, most people start out where they are learning Photoshop, and so After Effects becomes a very natural, place to step into. And it's a powerful program. It can do a lot of things. It can stand up next to a lot of those other much more expensive programs and pull things off.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, no, it's been fun.
If you'd like to see more of Josh's work, you can visit his website at brysondigital.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.